Bear witness, okay? Now I really need to fuck your mom," he exclaimed as he drew his finger from her cunt. "And I'm certain you want to stay and watch." Looking at Rebecca, he said, "How about I lay on my back and you jump on top?" She nodded again. Robert shoved Monica from the center of the bed and took her place, his shaft rising above him. Rebecca started to mount him as he spoke again to Monica. "Go sit down next to my legs. The best view will be from down there." Monica watched as her mother settled in on top of Robert's body, riding him like a horse. It was not until he arched his back and the tip of his cock touched her mother's wet pussy did she realize how this was actually going to happen. "You can help if you like. Make sure my cock is aimed right at your mom's vagina. Okay?" said Robert. Monica took hold of his rigid shaft with one hand and guided the tip towards with her mother's waiting hole. She watched as the wet rod disappeared inside, until all she could see was his balls pressed against her mother's wet flaps. Robert held it there for a few seconds then started to pump. Monica watched as her mother's flaps slid over the wet skin of Robert's cock. Amazing. They continued fucking like this, Rebecca's tits pressed tight against Robert's chest, as Monica looked on. After a few minutes Robert needed to rest. Rebecca sat upright, the cock deep inside her, then proceeded to slide up and down on the shaft. Monica had lost her view, so scurried around next to Robert's shoulder. She could see the upright shaft each time her mother raised her body. As Rebecca pumped him, Robert reached over and took Monica's tiny body, dragging her on top of him. She didn't resist, allowing him to position her body on top of his chest, facing her mother. Seconds later she felt his warm tongue dart into her tiny cunt. She lay flat on his chest, her chin in his navel, watching her mother's cunt slide up and down on his shaft. They stayed this way for a long time, terminated only by the now unmistakable sounds of her mother in orgasm. "Hop off, darling, I have to collapse," Rebecca begged of her daughter. Monica rolled off Robert's chest onto the bed by his side. Rebecca fell forward onto his chest, her arms stretched out above her head. She kissed him and could feel and taste her daughter's juice on his lips. Monica watched as her mother licked the fluid that had been smeared on Robert's cheeks and chin. She lifted her head and spoke to herself, as much as the others. "I need to taste that firsthand. Come here, young lady." She rolled off Robert and held out both hands to her daughter. Monica climbed over the body between them and into her mother's arms. "Out of the way, boyo," she commanded Robert. Robert obliged and vacated the center of the bed. Rebecca swung around and laid Monica in his place, with her head toward the foot of the bed and her feet on the pillows. She positioned herself above the small body in a 69er position and buried her face in the young girl's cunt. Monica was much shorter than her mother, so Rebecca's knees fell each side of the young girl's face, her ass high in the air. Monica watched as Robert stood and moved to straddle both of them. His balls and cock were directly above her face. She wanted to reach up and grab them, but her arms were trapped under her mother. Robert crouched, and Monica watched, as he drove his cock into her mother's juicy cunt just inches above her face. Monica could feel her mother's tongue darting in and out of her tiny wet cunt, licking her flaps and stroking her hard little clit. Rebecca's arms were resting on Monica's wide-stretched legs. With all her strength she pulled them free and bent her body so that her tight little anus was presented to her mother's busy mouth. Rebecca obliged and set to work rasping her tongue across the tight little puckered hole and pushing the tip in as far as it could go. With her hands, Rebecca stretched Monica's butt cheeks wide, making more room for more tongue to fit inside. Monica was loving this. "I'm going to come soon," Robert proclaimed from above. "No. Not yet. I want to see," Monica pleaded. "What?" came the muffled query from the vicinity of the young girl's cunt. "I want to see what it looks like when Robert comes," Monica elaborated. "Please don't come inside mommy this time." Robert withdrew from Rebecca's cunt and stood, hard erect, on the bed next to the other two. "What then?" he added. Rebecca rolled off her daughter and sat quietly cleaning the juice from her cheeks, not offering any help. She was still up from the fucking Robert was just giving her. Still flat on her back, Monica spoke to the ceiling. "I don't know, I just want to watch." Robert broke the impasse. "What about your mom lies on her back and I come on her breasts? That way you can lick her clean." "Fantastic. Mommy, come lie down," Monica chirped with great enthusiasm. As she spoke, she bounced up and took her mother's arm, guiding her to the center of the bed. Rebecca, still in her just fuck days, happily went along. Robert straddled her, sitting on her pussy, with the end of his cock above her navel. Monica crouched by her mother's side and watched as Robert started to masturbate. Rebecca had just enjoyed 5 orgasms and a delicious spot of incestuous cunnilingus and was starting to drift off. "Can I do that?" Monica queried. "Of course, darling," Robert replied. "I'd love you too." Monica reached over and proceeded to give Robert the most delectable of hand jobs. She wasn't fast or forcefully, but the sight of her tiny hands working his cock soon brought him to climax. "Point it down and aim it at one of your mom's tits." "And what?" Monica's aim was perfect. The stream of sperm shot from Robert's cock and sprayed into the underside of Rebecca's left tit, with a trail leading back across her stomach to the tip of his cock. "Oh? That was great. I didn't know how far it would shoot. If you hadn't have aimed it down, it would have gone all over your mom's face. Don't get any of that near your pussy. Okay?" Rebecca stirred from her stupor just long enough to warn her daughter of the dangers of live sperm. "Your mom is right. Don't touch your pussy until you have washed your hands." Robert reinforced Rebecca's dire warning. "Now get to work and clean that up! And start with me." Monica bent forward and milked the last drops of Robert's cum into her mouth. She lingered for a while, enjoying the feeling of his hard shaft between her lips. He rolled away and watched as Monica lapped the thick cum from her mother's stomach and breast. Not one drop had landed on Rebecca's nipple, but Monica took a very long time making sure it was clean. "I need to pee," exclaimed Robert. "Me too," said Monica. "Wash your hands first," came the voice from the deep. They both rushed off to the en-suite. Robert arrived first and stood pointing to the hand basin as Monica arrived. She dutifully paused and washed all trace of Robert from her small hands. "I'm still too hard. I'm going to have to pee in the shower." Monica watched as Robert pissed high on the wall of the shower cubicle. She bent down close and watched, fascinated, as the yellow stream gushed from the end of his cock. "I wish I could do that. It seems so much easier." "Have you ever pissed standing up?" "A few times in the shower, when the water is running. It always runs down my leg. Try spreading your legs and pulling your flaps apart." Robert had finished and backed out of the cubicle. Monica pushed past and took up position with her back to the entrance. "Hang on. I want to watch. Turn around and I'll close the door." The shower screen was glass, allowing Robert to watch as the pee shot from the young girl's crack. All was going fine until the final few seconds. The flow slowed and both watched as the yellow stream turned and ran down the inside of the young girl's left leg. "See?" Monica said grumpily. "That's okay. I'll fix it." As he spoke, Robert opened the door and took hold of Monica's foot. Lifting her leg, he leaned forward and licked her from ankle to pussy. The two walked back to the bedroom to find Rebecca curled up on one side of the bed, fast asleep. They looked at each and shared a smile and a chuckle.